Hey guys, welcome back to the show. This week, I'm going to be breaking down the top 5 Christian music albums that influenced me as a young songwriter. That's coming up next.
Here we go!
Hey guys, welcome back to the show where the Father sets the tempo and His children love to follow. This week, I wanted to share with you guys a list of my personal top 5 albums from my childhood that really influenced the songs that I write today and just made me fall in love with writing and playing music. So I got to set this up with a little bit of history. So it was the early to mid 2010s when I really started paying attention to who was who in Christian music and really diving into learning to play songs and analyzing the musical patterns of everything and just really spending a lot of time not just casually listening on the radio but studying music and letting that shape who I wanted to become as a songwriter. Part of what got me into this is from the time I was about probably 9 or 10 to when I was about 15, my dad was doing music and youth for our church, and he had a subscription to this youth leaders resource company, I don't know what it was, that would send him the latest and greatest in Christian music every month. They'd send him a box of different videos and resources and stuff for youth ministry, but along with that, they'd always send a couple cases of new CDs from the latest Christian artists. And so he would give them to me and let me listen through them, and I would go and rip them to my little PC computer. Any of you guys remember ripping CDs? Yeah, that was fun. And there were a lot that I really got passionate about. Also, I'm going to start out mentioning some honorable mentions. The very first one I remember was Tonight by TobyMac. He also gave me a couple Jeremy Camp CDs, We Cry Out, Speaking Louder Than Before. A couple Chris Tomlin CDs were in there. If Our God Is For Us. Burning Lights was in there somewhere, I think. And a lot of those were really, really good. But what I want to do in this video is break down my 5 favorites. And these they stuck out to me because they weren't CDs where I would find one or two songs that were on the radio and I just listened to those. I found myself being enthralled and inspired by every single track on these albums. It's something really special to me when I find a CD that is so good and every song is strong. It flows really well. Has lots of great ups and downs. The songs are all different. There's a good variety of styles and content on it that I don't find songs that I want to skip. I want to sit down and I want to listen to this. This entire album is an experience that I have to listen to start to finish. All of these CDs had singles on the radio, but they also had a lot of songs that didn't really get the airplay or the attention that I think they deserved. I'll let you know my top pick of songs that you should go check out after the video. At number 5, I've got The Generous Mr. Lovewell by MercyMe, released on Star Wars Day in 2010. Any MercyMe album is really, really good. MercyMe is one of my favorite bands. They're really skilled, great songwriting. The movie is awesome as well. This one in particular had a lot of really cool songs on it that really got me into songs with key changes. There's a lot to study on this one. Songs like This Life and Only You Remain have some really cool key change work in it. It's got a cool outro track. You kind of see a trend where I'm getting into intro and outro tracks here. Of course, it's got the singles, Move, All of Creation, Beautiful. The song Won't You Be My Love, which is near the end of the album, is really, really good as well. It's talking about giving to the poor, giving to people who don't have as much, and that kind of became our theme song. My family and I, when we went on a family mission trip to the Outer Banks, North Carolina, where my aunt and uncle live, after Hurricane, Matthew was the one before that. I don't remember which one it was. Was it Ira maybe? I don't remember. But there was a hurricane, and we went and did just as a family, did mission work for a week. And that was kind of the song that we rallied around. Bart sings, "Won't you be my hands healing? Won't you be my chain breakers? Won't you be my peacemakers?" It's a really cool song. But if I had to pick musically, my one, you've got to go listen to this if you haven't before song. It would be Free. It's the 9th track on this album. And the thing that I love about that one, it's got a cool chord progression, makes great use of the flat 7. It's got a really cool mix of ambient guitars and synthesizers all going together. There's a lick at the beginning of it that's like, I think it almost ends some kind of like reverse delayed pinch harmonic, sorry. And I love the words. No matter what they do, my heart belongs to you. I'm free. The hands that hold the world have set me free. He's broken every chain. I lift my hands to the one who saves. At number 4, No Far Away by Chris August. This album was released actually exactly 1 week after The Generous Mr. Lovewell. I didn't even know that until I just looked at the Wikipedia article. This album was released on May 11th, 2010. It was Chris August's first album. This was one that I heard a couple songs on the radio. Battle, Starry Night, and 7x70 were the 3 radio singles from this album, which are all great songs. And I wanted to buy it and hear the rest of it for myself. It's a really, really fun ride. It's got probably the coolest guitar parts of any of the albums on this list. Well, with the exception of number 1, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. But it's also just got a really cool. Chris August's writing style is really cool, and I think he's done lots of great projects since. But I still feel like No Far Away is his best one. I love the personalness of his writing. Chris gets really vulnerable in a lot of these songs, talking about a lot of difficult things. And it's also got a couple cool, like really almost enigmatic kind of songs. My favorite of those being Wintertime, which is close to the end. It's hard to pick one. You got to go check this song out if you haven't before. There's a lot of songs on this album that don't get enough recognition. No Far Away, Wanna Be Real, You and I is an awesome song. But I think with this one, I may have to say the last song, Canyons, Beautiful Noise. It's a beautiful 6/8 worship song. It's got some cool out-of-scale chords in it, cool guitar parts. It's called Canyons, and I love that the chorus sounds like he's in a canyon. He's got a really cool delay effect going on, making his voice reverberate throughout the space that he's in. And it's like, it's a floaty, I'm in love with you, canyons will echo. And it's just like, it's so cool. I can't describe it in a video, and I can't play it because I don't want to get copyright strikes on this video. But if you haven't, go check out Canyons by Chris August. Wow, I've never actually seen the correlation between all my favorite CDs until I looked them up on Wikipedia. So number 3 was released on the same day as the Chris August album. This is The Light Meets the Dark by 10th Avenue North. What can I not say about this record? 10th Avenue North was definitely one of my favorite bands when I was growing up. They're actually my first concert. My dad took me to Charlotte, North Carolina to see them when I was 11. It was so loud that I covered my ears and I kind of freaked out a little bit because I've never been to something like that before. Man, this entire record, start to finish, really was such a huge part of me falling in love with music. Obviously, the radio singles are great. Healing Begins, Strong Enough to Save, You Are More, fantastic songs. It's a great message all the way through. There's not another songwriter out there that I respect quite like I have the respect and admiration I do for Mike Donehey. His understanding, his emotional vulnerability, and just the way his outlook on life has always been really fascinating to me. He's always had so many profound things to say about our faith. I also love that he does devotional videos with just about every song, which is so cool to go back and check out. Oh man, the entire thing is so good. I tended to be a sucker for the really emotional, vulnerable songs on these albums. And so with that in mind, I would say that if there's one song you gotta go check out from this album, it would be Empty My Hands. The finger-picking guitar parts are so cool. There's a string section in it that's really, really pretty. And what's cool is Jeff Owen, the guitar player, they didn't have a keyboard player at the time they made this album. And so he's doing a lot of like almost synthesizer-like guitar stuff in it, which is just super cool. Now we're getting into these two. The next two are really, really hard for me to pick from because they're both absolutely phenomenal. But I've got to give number 2 to Pieces of a Real Heart by Sanctus Real. This album came out on March 9th, 2010, and It's the first album I can ever say, like, honestly, like, it is a masterpiece, start to finish. Fantastic songwriting. Matt Hammett is great. This is before Matt Hammett left Sanctus Real. And I've listened to other Sanctus Real albums, and I still will definitely say this one by far is their best. It has a bunch of radio singles on it. Forgiven is on this album. This is the album with Lead Me and The Redeemer. We actually performed The Redeemer at a concert when I was in college, which was pretty cool. But this one, again, I think the big reason that it hits me is because every song is gripping. Every song has a deep emotion, a great amount of vulnerability to it, and it had a lot that I can relate to. The record ends with the song "Keep My Heart Alive," which is just talking about, Lord, help me stay faithful through everything. It kind of honestly was the soundtrack of my teenage years, because every single one of these songs had a message that I could relate to, something that I was going through. These things take time. I want to learn that. I want to get there now, Lord. I don't want to wait. I want to get lost in you. Dear heart, pulling me different directions. Life is pulling me this way and that. I'll show you how to live. If you haven't heard it, I would say my one pick from this album that you've got to go listen to is The Redeemer. I know it was on the radio for a little while. They changed it up in the radio version, just so you know. It ends on a 6 minor on the actual album. This entire album, I can't speak highly enough of it. I mean, seriously, if you haven't listened to it all the way through, go check it out, because the entire thing is phenomenal. Okay, so the moment you've all been waiting for. The number one album that influenced me, that sparked my love for songwriting and doing music more than anything else, and it's one that I found by accident. Church Music by David Crowder Band, September 22nd, 2009. I actually didn't even intend to listen to this album. I had gone to the music store to buy something else. Actually, it was a new Afters CD, which almost made this list too. And I happened to see it. It was on sale. It was like this CD was on sale for like $7. And I recognized Howie Loves in the track listing, and I was like, well, I've got a few extra dollars. I'll buy it and check it out. And my stars, for a 13, 14-year-old me who was just getting into learning to analyze music, study stuff that was going on in the songs, my goodness, this album has so much going on. Every single song is thickly layered. There's probably a dozen guitars and synthesizers going on in each song. This record also plays continuously, start to finish, which I'd never seen before. Every single song fades into the next one. And actually, if you listen through the ending, the last one loops back around to the first one again, which is really cool. Another reason why this album really got to me so much was it was the first time I'd ever heard like worship lyrics set to like rock music. I was kind of in and out of that Skillet phase of teenage years we all go through when I heard this. And it was the Nearness, the song on here that they do with Lacey Sturm from Flyleaf, that really got me hooked on, wow, there's something cool going on here. It's worship music that sounds like Skillet was what wowed me with it so much. The entire record is so good. There are incredible guitar parts, piano parts, lyrics. There's so much to be inspired by. If you are a music nerd, you will love this album. There's so much going on. It can get overwhelming if you're not prepared for it. But I can't tell you how many times I've listened to this record. Really, this is what got me into the David Crowder Band as well. Afterwards, I discovered their YouTube channel where they actually had videos from their studio time making this record, and I could go back and watch their studio process, which is really cool. It was around this time that my dad found an old David Crowder Band DVD in his office where they went from their 2008 live show and sat down and showed you video by video of how to play each of their songs on the guitar, which was life-changing for me. I seriously wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for that DVD. But my entire passion for everything Crowder started here. I could really put any album that David Crowder has ever touched on the top of this list, but the premier one for me, the one that stands above the rest, is church music. Again, it's almost impossible to pick my one go check it out song from this album if you haven't heard it all the way through. God Almighty None Compares is really good. It's got a 3-minute guitar meltdown at the end of it, which is really, really cool. Eastern Hymn is really good. The Nearness is really, really good. But if I had to pick one, I think my favorite song from this album is Alleluia Sing. It's just a really awesome, massive worship anthem that's got everything. It's got great guitar parts. It's got strings. It's got the little synthesizer patch towards the end. So much to listen for, so much to get excited about in Alleluia Sing. Go check it out if you haven't. Those are my top 5 Christian music albums from when I was a kid that I listened to that really just changed the way that I looked at music and the way I looked at the world. It got me excited about making music for a living. What are your favorite albums of all time? Let me know in the comments down below. Would you like to see more videos like this? Let me know what you want to see me talk about next. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.